If you like what we are doing on the official, go ahead and like and subscribe. Comment down below if you're Daylan McCutcheon. I think Matt's going to bring up here for us. So go ahead and tell us about this guy out of the state of Texas, I believe.
Yeah, Lovejoy High School out of Texas. He's the wide receiver 13 in the class, 111 overall. He's 5'11", 175 pounds. His high school was the 18th ranked team in Texas last year, according to Max Preps. Playing on a good team, playing against pretty good competition, and he is currently uncommitted, but has offers from pretty much everyone you'd want to see. So, and overall, I really like his game. I think he's a well-rounded player. His biggest strength is definitely going to be his route running. He's going to be able to separate and get open at the next level. That's not really going to be an issue for him. Another guy that works with margin hooks, big time wide receiver trainer out of Texas. We always love those guys, and you can definitely see it in his game. He's probably going to pan out mostly as a slot going forward, although I do think he does have some inside-outside versatility. He's not overly physical, and I think he might struggle against press at times a bit. But I think you stick him in the slot, and he's going to have no problems there. I think he has really, really good hands. You're going to see. I think he has a couple really nice one-handed grabs in this tape. I've seen him make a few more in camps. Definitely very good in that area. He can go up and get the ball really well for a guy who's 5'11", 175 pounds. And he's pretty good after the catch, although I'm not sure how well that will sustain at the next level. But he's solid there. He's not Blazer in the open field, lacking that long speed a bit. I do think he's a very good, not very good, but a good athlete outside of that, though. He's very agile. He's flexible. Just generally moves well enough that, at wide receiver, especially being a slot, it's definitely going to translate. I don't really have any concerns there. He was extremely productive last season. 92 catches, 1,400 yards, 15 yards per catch, 19 touchdowns for a 42% yards market share and a 53% touchdowns market share. Love to see that. Was also a kick returner, had 2 kick return touchdowns. I really like him. He's going to be that slot guy, so he's going to get discounted a bit naturally, I think. I think the landing spot's also going to matter a bit here. Ohio State was been the leader for a while, and that's always a toss-up with who's going to pan out there since it's such a crowded room. They're always getting in guys there that we love, so that always makes the fantasy side of things difficult there for college fantasy. But he's solidly a tier 2 player for me. He's definitely going to be a top 10 wide receiver. I don't know about top 5 yet, but very good wide receiver, very safe player, I think.
All right. Not too bad. Not too bad review there. David, give us your take on Daylan McCutcheon.
He actually made my original top 5 when I was kind of scrounging to put a list together. I've since sort of cooled on him a little bit, although I do get excited when I see guys working with margin hooks that I just feel pretty confident that they're going to know what they're doing when they come in as a freshman. I do think he's a pretty good route runner, although I will say his tape, I didn't see a full route tree necessarily. It could just be the offense and how they do things there. And then I didn't see him getting tons of, I didn't see him shaking DBs or manipulating DBs to a really high level, I guess I would say, and getting as much separation as I thought maybe he would given his training and stuff. So that's something I'm going to watch out for on his senior tape. But he is well-rounded. Or I kind of thought a little bit worse version of an Antonio Williams, because I think he was a little bit faster, I feel like, and a little bit more physical after the catch. But kind of like that mold of player where it's a mid-sized guy. Would like to see him add some weight, get a little stronger if he's gonna be kind of more of a predominant slot type guy, just to get extra yards, break some tackles and such. So I like him. Don't love him necessarily. Kind of feel like he's sort of I do think he could work his way into an NFL draft pick, given his his route running acumen and stuff like that. So I think he's more of like a day 3. I'm viewing him as a day 3 guy as of now. Interested to see where he goes, because that's kind of, we want him to produce right away. I don't know if he's like special, but like he won't be raw, so he could see the field because he's pretty fine tuned, I suppose. So I just want to see where he goes and how crazy the depth chart is. We'll find out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that when I was watching him too, I kind of said, like, I think this guy's pretty close to ready to get thrown into the mix as a rotational slot guy, maybe pretty quick right away as a freshman, depending on depth chart. I would be nervous about Ohio State, to be honest with you. He just doesn't seem to fit the mold of the guys that have just really popped at Ohio State. But I like what he does in space. I like what he does after the catch. His school definitely in high school is scheming him the ball with designed plays to get him the ball. Then he can do something afterwards. And he does seem to have that nice sixth sense of when he catches the ball, who's around him, where do I need to go to make the first guy miss? What do I, how do I need to get my body contorted to avoid the first, tackler who's coming in? And then he makes things happen from there. So I like that. As far as, I agree with what you said, probably being fairly raw as a route runner, although, there's one amazing one-handed grab, and you can't really complain about his hands. He's got some really awesome catches. Reminded me of Kyamberry Johnson from last year, who we loved, with some one-handed leaping stuff and just kind of like, have a pretty long radius. I don't know if we have an arm length on him, but seems to have a pretty big radius to go get that ball. But anyway, there's one slant, and I watched it a few times because he has this awesome one-handed catch over his head in a short area at the goal line. But he kind of does a nice little, like, leans into the defender, gets the defender to kind of move off him. Then he cuts back in, and he's wide open. The throw required him to do this wild one-handed catch, but he was wide open in a short area. And if he can do things like that, maybe be sneaky with how he gets open rather than just pure unbridled, like, quick feet or something like that, I think he could be successful and create space. I don't think he's going to just have that top gear that everyone loves, in prospects. But as we've come to realize, like, that top end speed for a wide receiver matters less than I think we want to believe it does. And so I think he can be pretty productive. I kind of like McCutcheon. I agree with Matt. Probably will wind up top 10 for me. Even if he may not have that, like, ultimately elite high upside that we just dream of, I think he can be a solid player and maybe an NFL type guy when it's all said and done.